بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن شاء الله النهاردة هنحل مسائل على درس Laws of Circular Motion. First question. The opposite figure showed the car that moves with velocity v towards the east. If the force acting on the car is in the east direction, then the car's velocity will. This is the car, and this is the forces that act on the car in the same direction. Then the velocity increase without changing the direction of the car motion. Second, when a force acts on a body in the opposite direction of motion, this is the motion direction, this is the force direction, the velocity will decrease without changing its direction. A body moves toward the east on a plane frictionless surface with constant velocity if two forces act on it as shown in the figure. So then the velocity will change in. There are two forces acting on the object. The first is 10 Newton and the second is 5 Newton. By subtracting the two forces to get the resultant force, this is the resultant force equal 5 Newton in the south direction or downward. So the velocity is perpendicular to the force direction. Then the object will move in a circular path. So its direction only change and the magnitude of the velocity remains constant. The next four figures represent the effect of some forces on a body that move with velocity v. Which of them can rotate it in a uniform circular path? Let's see. The first, the resultant force is from the middle, is not perpendicular to velocity, so the object will not move in a circular path. Second, the two opposite forces cancelled with each other. Third, the two forces cancelled and one force remained perpendicular to the direction of velocity, so the object to move in a uniform circular path. The centripetal force acts on a car that moves in a circular path that inclined at an angle with the horizontal is resulted from. Let's see. This is a car that moves in an inclined road or inclined plane or banked road. The car is acted by three forces: the weight of the car downward, the friction force between the wheels or the tires of the car and the road, the reaction force, Fn, the reaction force. Let's resolve the forces into its component, x and y. First, the reaction force is resolved into Fnx and Fny. The friction force is resolved into F friction x and F friction y. And the vertical forces will cancel with each other. Then there remain the horizontal component of reaction force and friction force. So the correct answer is the sum of the two horizontal components of the friction force and the reaction force. A boy ties a stone to a string at the end and move it in horizontal plane in the direction of the arrow E as shown in the figure. So when the boy leaves the string suddenly, when the stone is at the point X, then the stone will move in which direction? Let's see. At the first, you can think that the stone, when it moves freely or the string is left or cut out, the ball will release and fly freely. This is not happen. But what happened? When the boy released the ball freely, The pole will move in a direction tangent to the circular path and in a direction perpendicular to the force in this direction. So, in which direction the stone will move? It will move tangent to the circular path in the direction xp. The opposite figure represents the motion of the Earth around the Sun in a circular path, where the direction of the centripetal acceleration is. We know that the direction of the centripetal acceleration is in the same direction of the force, towards the center. If the tangential linear velocity is doubled and the radius of the circular path is also doubled, so the centripetal acceleration, let's write the rule of centripetal acceleration. Then the centripetal acceleration is doubled. Two objects A and B move along the circumference of the same circle with the same velocity, where ma equal to mp. So the acceleration which A moves is that of B. Acceleration doesn't depend on the mass. So it remains constant. A car moves around the curve of radius 100 meter with constant speed 10 meter per second. So the centripetal acceleration equal centripetal acceleration AC equal V square over R equal 20 square divided by 100 equal 4 meter per second square. When a body moves along the circumference of a circle of radius R with a speed V, so which of the following statement is correct? All of them are correct. If the tangential velocity with which a body moves in a circular path is 7 meters per second, where it makes 4 revolutions in 2 minutes, so the radius of the circular path equal. Since velocity equal 2 pi r divided by t, then where the time equal the total time divided by number of rotation, then 2 minutes times 60 to convert it from minutes to second, divided by 4 revolutions equal 30 seconds. Then the velocity that is equal 2 pi r over t, then the radius equal vt divided 2 pi. Then the correct answer is 33.4. If the radius of the circular orbit increase 4 times its original value, the centripetal force required to make the speed of the body constant would be, since centripetal force equal mv squared divided by r, and the mass of the body is constant, and this force required to make the body speed is constant, then remove m and remove v squared, then force equal 1 over 4. This means that the force decreased to quarter its value. If an object of mass 6 kg move in a circle of circumference 6 pi, this is the value of the circumference, with constant speed 10 meter per second, so the centripetal force that acts on the body is. Since the circumference of the circle equal 2 pi r, that is equal 6 pi, then the radius equal 3 meter, where F equal mv square over r, then 6 times 2 power of 2 divided by the radius 3 equal 200 Newton. A man of mass 50 kg rides a bicycle on a curved route of radius 30 meter with a speed of 2 meter per second. If the centripetal forces that act on the body and the man The body, the both man and the body and the bicycle is 10 Newton. So the mass of the bicycle is. Since in the force equal mv square over r, then the mass equal by making cross multiplication fr divided v square. Then the total mass that move in a circular path equal 75. This is the mass of the man and the bicycle. So the mass of the bicycle equals 75. Subtracting the mass of the man 50 equal 25 kilogram. The ratio of the centripetal forces acting on two bodies of equal masses when the first move with the speed 5 meters per second in a circle of diameter 4 meters and the second move with the speed 10 meters per second in a circle of diameter 8 meters is. Since F1 divided F2 equal mv1 square divided by r over mv2 square divided by r2, then m equal to m. Then v1 square divided by r1 times r2 square divided by v2 square. Then f1 divided f2 equal 5 power of 2 times 4 divided 2 times 10 power of 2 equal to half. A stone of mass 4 kg is tied in a string of length 10 meters rotates in horizontal circle. If the tension force in the string is 160 Newton, so the stone speed is. Since force equal mv square divided by r, then v square equal fr over m equal 400. This is v square. Then v equal 20 meters per second. If an object moves in a circular path, then all the following statements are correct except what? The centripetal forces that act on a body moving in a circle keep the velocity constant in magnitude and change its direction only. So the wrong statement is the force increases the velocity of the body. In one of the amusement park games, the chairs rotate in a uniform circular path. If one of the chairs is 1.5 meters away from the center and another chair is 2 meters away from the center, and both of them are on the same straight line away from the center, then which of them has the largest tangential velocity? Let's see. These are the two chairs. The first is at a distance 1.5 meter and the second is at a distance 2 meter away from the center. Then since the velocity is directly proportional to the radius, then the chair that is 2 meters away from the center will has the largest tangential velocity. A racing car can accelerate by changing either its direction or its speed. A body is revolving with constant speed in a circle if its direction of motion is reversed, but the speed remains in the same. Then which of the following statement is true? If the object moves in a certain direction, then reverse the direction of motion, the force is still toward the center and its magnitude is constant. So the centripetal force will not suffer any change in magnitude or direction. The moon takes 27.3 days to orbit the Earth at an average radial distance of 385,000 kilometers from the center of the Earth. What is the acceleration of the moon? Since the velocity equal to pi r divided by t, Then velocity equal, we must convert the distance from kilometer to meter by multiplying it times 10 power of 3 and converting the time from 27.3 days to 24 hours, then to 60 minutes, then to 60 seconds. Then the velocity equal, since the acceleration equal v square over r, then the acceleration equal 2.73 times 10 power negative 3 meter per second square. A circus player intends to ride a motorcycle of mass m in a vertical loop. Assuming that the loop is a circle with a radius r, what is the least speed of the player should have at the top of the loop to remain in contact with it? Let's say this is the figure represent the circus player when it moves in a circular loop. Then the magnitude of the centripetal force must equal to the mass, the weight of the body. Then the centripetal force equal the weight or the gravitational force. Then Fc equal Fg. This means that mv square over r equal mg, the weight of the body. Then the velocity square equal gr, then v equal root gr. In the display window of the toy store at the local mall, a battery-powered plane is suspended from a string and flies in a horizontal circle. If 631-gram plane makes a complete cycle every 2.15 seconds, and the radius of the circle is 0.95 meter, determine the centripetal force acting upon the plane. Let's say. Since the velocity equal 2 pi r divided by t, then the tangential velocity equal 2.77 meter per second, and the centripetal force equal mv square over r. So the centripetal force would be 5.11 Newton, approximately from the answer equal 5.13 Newton. The maximum frictional force between the tires of the car and the road is 0.5 the weight of the car. If the car negates a curve of radius 10 meters, so its velocity is. Since in the centripetal force equals 0.5 the weight of the car, then mv square over r equals 0.5 mg. Then the velocity square equals 0.5 gr. This means that the velocity equal root 0.5 gr, that is equal to 7 meter per second. A racing car of mass 10 power of 2 kilogram goes around the circular track of radius 10. If the maximum thrust that the track can withstand is 10 power of 5 Newton, so the maximum speed with which the car can go around it is. Since the force equal mv square over r, then v square equal fr divided by m. That is equal to 10,000. This is v square. Then v equal 100 meter per second. If an aircraft executes a horizontal loop of radius 1 kilometer with a steady speed of 900 kilometers per hour, so the ratio between the centripetal acceleration to the acceleration due to gravity is. Since centripetal acceleration divided by g equal v squared divided by r over g, then by converting the number from kilometer per hour to meter per second by multiplying it times 5 over 18, and by changing 1 kilometer to meter by multiplying it times 10 power of 3, then the ratio is 6.25. A racing car moves around the circular path of racetrack. The force that acts toward the center of the circular path of the racetrack is caused by. This is the force. The force is the friction force. This force is a type of centripetal force. If another racing car has a large mass, and they travel at the same speed around the same racetrack, then the force will be, since the force is directly proportional, so when the mass increase, the force increase. When the racing car go faster, the force will be, since the force is directly proportional to the velocity, then the force also will increase. A planet of mass 10 power of 20 kilogram rotates in a circular path such that its displacement within a quarter cycle is root 2 times 10 power of 10 meter, and it covers half the cycle within 10 power of 6 seconds. Then the centripetal force acting on the planet is, at the first, the displacement equal r root 2, that is equal to 10 power of 10 root 2. This means that the radius is 10 power of 10 meter. Since in half the cycle is taken within 10 power of 6 seconds, then the total cycle is taken in 2 times 10 power of 6 seconds. Since in the tangential velocity equal 2 pi r divided by t, so the velocity of the planet is pi times 10 power of 4. By cancelling 2 with 2, okay, and remain is pi 10 power of 6 move up to the denominator to 10 power negative 6, 10 minus 6 equal 10 power 4. Then centripetal force equal mv squared divided by r, that is equal to, notice that the choices contains the sample pi. You must keep the sample pi in your answer. So the centripetal force equal pi squared times 10 power of 18 Newton. Thank you.